Celtic kicked off the sale of their season tickets for the 2025 to 26 campaign just yesterday, and they've branded the season as Back to the Future. Now the title's got a certain charm to it, but the reality of the price increases has left many fans wondering if Celtic are acting more like Marty McFly, flying straight into the future with little concern for how fans are going to cope with the higher costs. The prices for the tickets have gone up by anywhere from 5 to 8%, and that's sparking all sorts of debates across the fan base. It's hard not to feel like you've been hit by a DeLorean of inflation right in the face. Now don't get me wrong, it's not all doom and gloom. Celtic did launch this campaign with a bit of creativity. And honestly, I was surprised to see them bringing in Martin Compston, the actor who plays Steve Arnott in Line of Duty. For those who don't know, Martin's a massive Celtic fan, and he's no stranger to the cameras. He could have brought a lot of personality to the video, so it was nice to see the club using someone who genuinely supports the team. Yeah, they could have played this up even more, though, given his fan status. It was a bit of a missed opportunity to create more buzz around the ticket sales. But still, the video did offer some interesting moments. It touched on a few things that fans have been talking about for a while, like that massive door at Celtic Park during the match against Hibernian. Everyone was wondering what that was all about, and the video cleared it up. It was in fact just a way to get Martin Thompson through. Nothing too complicated there. The video also teased the return of Kieran Tierney, which, let's face it, has got everyone talking. The club dropped the news on social media, and it made waves, as you can imagine. This is the first time they've hinted at it so openly, and the prospect of Tierney coming back has fans buzzing. But there's a catch: the idea of coming back is a double-edged sword. Celtic are clearly playing with this notion of renewal, with players like Tierney potentially returning to the fold. But the question is, will the fans back him? The answer is a resounding yes. The love for Tierney is still strong, and despite the price hikes, fans are showing that their loyalty to the club remains unwavering. That's one thing Celtic can always count on. The support is real even when the wallet takes a hit. Now, about those price increases. It's been a hot topic of conversation for a while, and it's easy to see why. The price of season tickets has risen considerably. The cheapest adult ticket now costs $68, an 8% increase from last year's $59, which might not sound like much, but when you add it all up, it becomes a significant jump. For those over the age of 65, the price now stands at $376, which is still a hefty sum. The youth tickets, however, have remained the same, starting at $50 for those under 13, which is a win for the younger generation. But still, the overall increase is hard to ignore, especially when times are tough for so many. It's not just about the tickets themselves, it's the principle behind it. Celtic have always been pretty good at keeping ticket prices stable over the years, but now with the rising costs, it feels like a bit of a shock to the system. I've had my season ticket since 1997, and despite the rise in prices this year, I'm still planning on renewing it. My commitment to Celtic hasn't wavered, and I'm not going to let a price increase stop me from getting back to Celtic Park. But I get why some fans are upset. The reality is life's getting more expensive, and people are already struggling to make ends meet with the cost of living on the rise. The increase in ticket prices combined with the rising cost of everything else is bound to stir frustration. I think this price jump has hit people harder than the club might have anticipated. It's a tough pill to swallow when you've supported the team through thick and thin, only to be told that the price to watch them play is going up. To make matters worse, the season ticket doesn't even cover Champions League playoff matches. No, those will have to be purchased separately, along with at least 4 more group stage matches, either in the Champions League or Europa League. That means Celtic fans are expected to fork out even more cash just to watch their team compete on the European stage. It's a big ask, especially when so many fans are already stretched thin. The idea that the club could have included a Champions League qualifying match as part of the season ticket feels like a bit of a no-brainer. After all, fans are the ones who fill Celtic Park week after week, and they're the ones who keep the club's heartbeat going. It seems like a small gesture that could have gone a long way, especially when you consider how much the fans contribute to the atmosphere at Celtic Park. I took a quick look at the prices for the Premier League, and I get that it's a different beast entirely, but it's worth comparing. For example, Arsenal, Tottenham, and Liverpool all have tickets starting at well over $700 for an adult ticket. Arsenal's cheapest ticket this season was $10.73, while Tottenham's was 856 and Liverpool's was 713. So it's clear that Celtic aren't alone in raising ticket prices. But even with that, the comparison still stands. Celtic fans are passionate and they sell out every home game just like the big clubs in England. So when you're paying to see Celtic, you're paying for that same level of commitment and engagement. The difference is Celtic are still operating in a smaller league with less revenue, which makes the price increases feel even more out of place. The thing is, I get the frustration. No one likes seeing ticket prices go up. It feels like no matter what, you're always being asked to pay more for the same experience. But at the end of the day, it's hard to see the prices deterring fans. The loyalty to Celtic is unwavering, and fans will continue to pack the stands regardless of the price tag. Some might grumble, but they'll still show up. Others might not be able to justify the cost and will have to make difficult decisions. It's a tough situation, but Celtic fans have always shown their support in times of adversity. This is just another bump in the road. And out of curiosity, how much did you pay for your Champions League package this season? Did it go up? It's a bit hard to remember the exact price, but I think it was around $150 for the 4-game package. Let me double check. Oh, yes, it was $184 for the 4-game package for an adult, which works out to $46 per match. It's not much of an increase from last year, but that's still a fair chunk of change to fork out on top of the season ticket. It's a lot to ask, especially when you consider that Celtic are likely to have another exciting run in Europe, but fans will be hoping it's worth every penny. The reality of rising ticket prices for Celtic supporters is a complex one. As we've seen, it's not just about the cost of admission for the matches, it's about the value that fans place on the experience. Celtic is a club that means so much to its supporters, and the passion runs deep. That's what makes this issue so tricky. It's not just about dollars and pounds, it's about the culture and the tradition that comes with being a Celtic fan. For years, the club has managed to strike a balance between making the game accessible to the working class supporters who make up the core of the fan base and ensuring that the financial side of the club remains stable. But this new wave of price increases feels like a step away from that tradition, and understandably, it's left a sour taste in the mouths of many. The frustration is palpable, and it's not confined to just a few disgruntled voices on social media. When you see comments from fans who've been loyal season ticket holders for decades, it's clear that this is a significant issue for many. It's not about being priced out of the stadium, though. That is certainly a concern. It's about the principle of it. Celtics fans have always been the lifeblood of the club, filling the stands at every game and creating an atmosphere that's become famous around the world. There's a sense of entitlement in the best way possible to the experience of watching their team play at Celtic Park. For those who've supported the club through thick and thin, through all the ups and downs, it feels a bit like the rugs being pulled out from under them. The emotional connection between the fans and the club is undeniable, and the fear is that this price increase could erode that sense of community. At the same time, it's not like Celtic are the only ones in this position. Football in general is facing a crisis of affordability for fans. Across the UK, from the Premier League to the Championship, ticket prices are on the rise. Even at smaller clubs, the cost of attending matches is creeping up. The Premier League in particular has seen a significant rise in prices, and the clubs in England have also had to adapt to rising operational costs. It's important to remember that Celtic operates in a market where the financial pressure is real. The club's revenues depend largely on the support of the fans, both in terms of ticket sales and match day spending. So it's not as if the club is just hiking prices to make a quick profit. The cost of running a top-tier football club is astronomical. And a Celtic, like all clubs, has to balance their books in the face of rising costs across the board. It's also worth considering the wider context in which these price hikes are taking place. Celtic is in the middle of a transition period with new players coming in a new season on the horizon, and a club that's aiming for continued success both domestically and in European competition. Brendan Rodgers, for all the criticism he's faced this season, has shown that he has a plan in place for the team's development. There's a sense of optimism about what's to come, and fans want to be a part of that journey. But there's a caveat. Fans are asking themselves whether the club is truly in touch with their financial reality. Can they continue to support the team when the price of entry keeps going up? Will this become a barrier for future generations of fans who might not be able to afford to attend as regularly? That's why it's crucial for Celtic to address these concerns head-on. It's not just about offering more for the same price, it's about creating a more equitable approach to ticket sales. The club has a massive global fan base, but the heart of that support will always be in the streets and pubs of Glasgow. It's the fans from the local community who will continue to make the difference, and the club needs to recognize that. While it's easy to look at these price increases and say it's just inflation, there's a real risk of alienating the very supporters who have been with the club for years, through thick and thin. Fans are asking for a bit more consideration, and it's time for the club to step up and meet those demands. At the same time, though, there's something to be said for the unshakable spirit of Celtic supporters. No matter how high the prices go or how difficult the financial landscape becomes, they will always show up. The passion and commitment of Celtic fans is something that's been passed down through generations, and it's that same passion that will ensure the stands are filled next season, even if some are grumbling under their breath about the cost. The atmosphere at Celtic Park is something that money can't buy. It's the roar of the crowd, the shared joy of a last-minute winner, and the collective heartbreak after a tough loss. That's what makes Celtic so special, the fans who make up the club's heart and soul. It's a strange thing to be a football fan in today's world. On one hand, we're lucky to be able to watch our teams compete at the highest level with some of the best players in the world. On the other hand, the costs of following the game are increasingly out of reach for some. It feels like every year the price of watching football goes up, but the experience remains largely the same. There's always that hope that the club will reward its fans for their loyalty, that the price increases will be justified by success on the pitch. And for Celtic fans, the hope is that next season will be one of success and triumph. Not just domestically, but on the European stage as well. The club's involvement in the Champions League or Europa League is always a big draw, but it also comes at a cost both financially and emotionally. Fans will pour their hearts and wallets into following their team, but the question remains, how much is too much? Ultimately, it's the love for the club that drives fans to continue supporting Celtic no matter the cost. Yes, the price increases are frustrating, and yes, the club could have been more considerate in how they introduced these changes, but at the end of the day, it's about the team. It's about standing side by side with fellow supporters singing the songs that have been passed down through the generations and hoping for glory just as we always have. No matter what, Celtic will continue to fill the stands. But it's time for the club to listen, to take a step back and consider the long-term effects of these price increases. The fans have always been there through thick and thin. The club needs to make sure that it stays that way. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Daisen Maeda's season with Celtic may have come to a premature end, with the Japanese forward suffering a serious injury to his left knee that could rule him out of action for up to 6 months. The news comes as a major blow not only for the key player himself, but for Brendan Rodgers and his squad as they enter the final stretch of a campaign that has been anything but straightforward. The injury, confirmed by club medical staff following a thorough assessment, is understood to involve ligament damage, which could require surgery and a lengthy rehabilitation period. Maeda, known for his relentless energy and work rate, has been a crucial figure in Celtic's attacking unit this season. His absence will be deeply felt as the Hoops battle for silverware both domestically and potentially in Europe. This setback comes at a critical time, with Celtic locked in a tight Premiership title race and facing mounting pressure from rivals. Rangers, Maeda's pace and ability to press from the front have often set the tone for Celtic's high-intensity style. And without him, Rodgers will be forced to rethink his tactical approach. The injury also raises questions about squad depth and whether reinforcements will be needed in the upcoming transfer window. For Maeda, the timing is particularly cruel. The 26-year-old had been hitting a solid run of form and was widely tipped to play a key role for Japan in their upcoming international fixtures. Now, those ambitions will be put on hold as he begins what is expected to be a tough road to recovery. Supporters and teammates alike have expressed their concern and sent well wishes to the forward, whose tenacity and commitment have made him a fan favorite at Celtic Park. While the full extent of the injury will be confirmed in the coming days, the early prognosis suggests Maeda could be out until late autumn, missing a large portion of next season as well. As the dust settles on this worrying development, Celtic must quickly regroup and find solutions on the pitch. But there's no doubt Almeida's presence and his absence will be one of the defining stories of this season's run-in. Hello fan, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.